Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East-West Show. Jack with the G&E TV on the East-West Show. By sitting in the middle, probably you can tell already, there's going to be a debate, not a discussion. For the debate over the matter of Charlottesville and its consequences, its aftermath, we're doing a debate here in between my good friend to the right-hand side, Ken Hemming, writer, CPA for life, though a writer with a beautiful book, Life is Simple, 100 Words to Live By.
Thank you.
With him, I argue all the time. The more I argue, the more I like him. We are friends.
It's true.
We're beer drinkers, and we shake hands, we argue. The only thing I don't do is I don't punch him on the face.
Right. I need a punch.
And he neither.
Yeah.
Right.
And he
To the left-hand side, yeah, that's a pen. That's his pen. To the left-hand side is my good friend from Hollywood, a director slash producer slash writer slash whatever, Monorex Hollywood Corporation, known for its huge credit for 18 wonderful films, some of which are repeatedly award-winning, such as the Chinese American Film Festival, the Golden Angel Award. You won 3 of them?
4.
4, my God, right? So
I'm proud of you.
and he is the friend I argue all the time, with all the time, and same thing, the more I argue, the more we are close to each other. Under this beautiful flag of democracy, I respect your right to speak up, even though I do not agree.
谢谢你，哎呀妈呀，老朋友，
Very
非
good.
常好。
That's Chinese.
I agree. Oh, I know.
Chinese,
I
all right?
understand. Of course.
To both of you, welcome to the show.
大家好。
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Okay, I told you the rules of a debate today.
Okay.
Learning from the previous debates, all right? There are lots of fight, too many. So rule number 1, you just answer the question to the extent it is needed. No extra, not unnecessary emotions, so on and so forth. Okay,
Okay.
question number 1. What has happened and are happening in Charlottesville, Virginia, and across the country? Please define and sum up in your own words. You want to start first?
Okay, I'll be happy to. Number 1, I am proud and support every syllable the president has uttered on the activities in Charlottesville. And I believe there's 100% immoral equivalence between the rights of white supremacists, Black Lives Matter, and Antifa people that were there. And the white supremacists are 0.3% that are supremacists, say 0.3% of our population, about 100,000 in America, many of which are in prison for doing bad things. And then of course Black Lives Matter. All 3 of those to me are equal race hate groups, and it makes me very sad. And I still don't know why they dislike each other. Why
Okay,
we
very
dislike
good.
each other.
We'll go
So,
further.
and I believe the president
We'll go
is
further
addressing
from
the
there.
truth in this.
So you're
by
saying
saying
that
there's evil on all sides.
what had happened is not a good event.
Oh,
And
horrible.
you were denouncing the white supremacists
And the Black Lives Matter and the Antifas.
and whatever lives matter.
Right.
Okay, very good. Okay, now,
Right.
and what's your the definition and some of your own words, please?
I have the feeling that this is all an elaborate, deadly street theater, which is being played out on a national stage by sensationalist media. It seems to be like puppeteers are pulling the strings. And it's not, because most of the Americans are not filled with hatred for others, or different skin colors, races, religions, or
I see.
genders. Most of people just want to get along. But those behind the alt-left and the alt-right movements want to divide and conquer America for political gains. Unfortunately, nobody foresaw the deadly consequence of a psychopath
Good point.
killing the innocent civilians, killing and harming innocent civilians. That was, for the puppeteers, the extra thing. If that wouldn't have happened, these demonstrations would not have had the coverage in the media they did receive.
Okay, good, good.
Quite
That's
right.
good. That's good enough for a comment. That's good enough for a start. A very peaceful start. I like that. And question number 2. Some people criticize the President Trump for his reluctancy in responding to events on such magnitude. I believe he waited for 2 days before he could use the word for white supremacies. And how do you comment on the criticism and or on Trump? You want to start first?
I think he said exactly what he had to say the first day, and he also identified that there were evil people on all sides of that conflict. And so it wasn't just white supremacists, which again is 0.3% of the population, almost zero. And so then the radical left media and leaders of the Democratic Party, whatever, just keep forcing him to say white supremacists. So he did on the next day. What he said the first day was exactly right. You don't just pick on one evil when there were several that were right there. And they all came to, actually, if none of the anti-protesters had come, there would have been no activity. It would have just been an event. The guys go out there. Myself, I would go and protect Robert E. Lee's statue. He was a great American
I have
and a
to
great
insert
leader.
the question. He seems to be laying a logic that if there had never been the anti-protesters, and everything would be peaceful.
Yes.
What's your take on that, please?
I first of all agree with him as he describes the reaction of President Trump.
And that I do too.
Secondly, I agree with him because it takes 2 hands to clap. If there's not a second hand,
All right.
no clapping.
You're so good, Chris.
In other words, if there is no counter-protesters, it's going to be the taken down of the statue and the protest against the taken down.
As I said before, I have come to suspect that there is a higher order here using these things as not only this, other things constantly as puppeteers, and using it to the advantage to further their approach to split up the nation, dumb down the people, and confuse the people.
None of you guys have answered my question.
I'm
to
sorry.
the
I believe
right
I did.
way. All right.
I believe
now.
Chris did.
And let's move to question number 3.
Yes,
Because
sir.
my audience they
Yeah.
can judge.
Yeah.
They have their own judgment about who's being honest, who's not. Okay, and to what extent you guys being honest. And question number 3. Looking into history, under what circumstances was white supremacy given birth to, and at what environment did it make the comebacks each time?
Well, I'd say there's white supremacists, black supremacists, Asian supremacists all over the
Question
world.
I'm asking is white supremacists. Just to answer, under what circumstances was that given birth to?
Probably highlighted at the start of the Civil War when the South wanted to fight to maintain slavery.
Okay.
The North
And
wanted to free the
and
slaves.
each time when they made the comeback in 1915, 1945, when they made each time of the comeback, under what environment was it made the comeback?
Well, like right now, if whatever comeback there is, I think they're always there. So I really don't see comebacks. But right now, adult white males are considered evil in America by the radical left and the leadership in the Democratic Party, in that we're supposed to be the cause of all disappointments in America.
No, we never said that.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. The white males are demeaned right now on a very common basis.
Okay, you answered
daily
half of
in
my.
the media.
You answered half of the
And
question.
so people then, some people on the outskirts of humanity, tend to react in an aggressive, nasty way to that.
All right.
And they're despicable.
All right, good. You're answering 75% of the question. And you to number 3, please.
The persistent fascistic, violent, racist element is part of the American culture since day one. Because just think about the Indians who were annihilated, and this is part of the American history. And there is a culture
I agree.
of the white people coming here and taking over this country
Yes.
their way. You know, this is something, that's why you have the gun culture and all that. So this is part of America, and I think we have to acknowledge this. And while at the same time, most of the Americans just don't want to have nothing to do with it. But you see, just imagine workers who lost their jobs. White, blue collar workers. They had their little house, they had their mortgage, they had their plans for their kids. Then corporate America, greedy corporate America, took away the jobs, brought it to cheap labor countries.
Yeah,
And
we'll talk about
subsequently, these people suffered the loss of their house, the loss of their job, and now they're angry. And
yeah,
they're
we're
trying
talking about contemporary problems later. I have questions listed
I see, I'm
there,
sorry.
and let's focus on history. In history, underwater circumstances didn't come back, and I want that answer, please. And to me, of course, I agree with you. The culture has the element there already. Now, when the Europeans landed in this land, which belonged to India, never
Indians.
Indians, never them, and they keep on driving them back to the east. That's why the term says moving is in the blood of Americans, because they were forced to move.
Expansion.
From that point on, the word hatred is buried there, is planted.
I don't think it's hatred.
Okay, now,
I don't agree
later,
with the word hatred.
later in the development, you brought us slaves there from Africa, all the way till 1860, when President Abraham Lincoln, abolished it. So the being black themselves, being slaves themselves, the hatred was there.
No, it's not.
Am I right?
It's not hatred. It's you know, slaves right now thrive all over the world. There are millions of slaves right now. All America does, the radical left of America, is. And we freed slaves
slavery.
140 years, whatever it is ago,
now.
and nobody cares if anybody's black or white anymore. Nobody cares.
Let's move to number 4. What does the statue of General Robert Lee stand? And for over 100 years, they have been there peacefully, all right? Why does the issue pop up today? And why do people take them down today?
It's hysteria.
Why all of a sudden?
It's hysteria.
It's hate. That's hatred.
It's orchestrated hysteria supported by bureaucrats who all of a sudden want to please their electorate. That's it.
Okay. And your take?
Well, let me tell you, I respect Robert E. Lee. He basically was the lead general that won the Spanish-American War, 1846. He was #1 graduate of West Point. And he was commandant of West Point, and he was respected by all the Union people also. And he was offered to be the #1 general for the Union in the Civil War, but he said he could not fight against his fellow Virginians. So he was a leader, very well respected, and he knew when it was over and surrendered at the right time with dignity. So I would be there protecting that statue myself.
All right. So you're saying that, I do not argue with either of you, because it's been there to display the Americans' inclusiveness, generous mindedness, right? Well, even if the fact is that even if he's a general of the South and he surrendered anyway. Okay, for slavery, the issue itself, George Washington was the owner of slaves.
Yes, that was normal life.
Jefferson was a slave, was a slave owner. Everybody,
but he also freed him.
You don't want to single him out.
Right.
You only single him out because he was the one fighting against the abolishment of slavery. That make him special.
Let me share one concept, okay? If the issue is we want to tear these things down because they were slave owners, okay?
No.
Now let me finish.
That's not the issue.
Then we would have to tear down the pyramids, because they were built by slaves. We'd have to tear down the Great Wall of China. They were
Great
built
Wall
by
of
slaves.
China,
So
built
let's
by
tear
Emperor
them all
Qin.
down, which
Everything,
is absolutely
everything needs to be torn
insanity.
down, right? Okay.
Absolute insanity.
All comes to his point, says the extreme media, either left or right, I don't give a comment to, they want to make a point. They want to use the public as puppies.
Hysteria, yeah.
Something like that, right? Okay, very good. My dear audience, today we are doing a debate. This is the kind of debate that we want to, not everybody take a single stand. We want to take a stand. In my term, I call it reasonable stand, reasonable position, to see what had happened and what are happening across the country, well, just to be healthy, right? So my friend Ken Hemming, my friend Chris Nibby, they are both wonderful individuals. We'll take a short moment out. When we come back, we'll continue. I have more questions than them can answer.
谢谢你。
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience, ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellow Americans, I call it that way. Welcome back to the show. Right now, America is the headline of across the world, no matter where you go and no matter who you are, because we are experiencing a historical moment in which we found ourselves a little lost in between left or right, in between white or black or whatever, or right or wrong, something like that. And in the aftermath of the Charlottesville event, we want to find out what exactly is going on, what shall happen, and what we want to do. And the debate is being conducted here, a very, I would say, more amicable debate, rather than fierce fighting. My good friend Ken Hemming on the right, and my good friend Chris Nibby on the left, director of Hollywood, one of the very big directors, and like a monument with a huge credit.
Which they're going to tear down.
As tall as himself. And Ken Hemming, the same thing. He's got a long list of hats that I cannot name one by one, or I have to cancel the show itself, right? Now, back to the point. My question number 5. What does the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, do, and what do they call for?
I think we also forgot to say one thing. The Civil War, that it was about slavery, that is actually an added caveat. The real issue was economics.
No. Yeah, okay.
Okay?
I appreciate that.
The real issue was economics.
We'll
That's
talk about that, but
because it ties in
just
with
follow
the
my
KKK.
follow my lead. What does KKK do, and what do they call for?
I repeat, that the slavery is just a caveat. The real issue was economics, because the cotton industry was failing in the South. The South was depending on cotton, and the North was industrializing, the Industrial Revolution, and was prospering. That was a real issue. Right. That slavery issue was just the humanitarian glory around it, because if you look at the subsequent writing of the Constitution, it was the blacks were still in a minority position.
Thank you. Answer my question. He refused to answer. What does KKK do, and what do they call for it?
But he provided beautiful information. The KKK, of course, is a Democrat organization formed in the South, and to try to, in their minds, try to protect their not necessarily superiority, but their security as white people. Okay.
Security. That's the word.
Yeah.
Do you find security the right word for KKK to pursue?
Yes, I think this is a very
what
good
kind
word.
of risk? What kind of risk they were facing, or they had faced, or they are facing, to make them to pursue white supremacies?
Because they were facing the arrogance of the North, and at the same time they were facing the security.
They don't
in
have
the
to.
South.
They don't have to fear about the failure. They were defeated already. The South was defeated, and
No,
even
I
the
think
general
the Klan
surrendered
was there before
already.
the defeat or after.
All right.
I don't know.
So we're talking about the KKK was given birth to way after after that.
And what I want to add something very important. There are KKK members that are not violent. There are Black Lives Matters that are not violent. And there are Antivas that are not violent, but they're all hateful. And that's a real tragedy. But so they're not all violent.
And how about Nazi?
Well, they're not Nazis.
About Nazi signs? No, the Nazi signs was there.
So what?
On
They're
camera,
not Nazis.
everybody says
there
that.
There is no
everybody
Nazi
saw it.
party.
Yeah.
They
Why
have,
there are the Nazi signs?
Just to
Why
aggravate.
wasn't there a picture of a Jack Shaw, a lovely man like that?
Yes,
Because it's there to aggravate and to initiate confrontation.
Why Nazi signs? You tell me.
I just did.
Why Nazi signs there?
I will tell
They're
you.
there.
Because you see, in America, the Anglo-Zionists control Congress. And the Nazis, they use the Nazis, or the people who have the Nazi flag, use it as a sign of anti-Semitism, because they realize that the alliance between Wall Street and this deep state, which is huge, and they don't know how to handle it. Right. Because I will tell you one thing, I don't know if you realize, America is, I think you call it unequivocable, allied with Israel. No matter what Israel does. Now the record of Israel, as far as human rights is concerned, is miserable when you think of the tragedy of the Palestinians. If the money which is being pumped into Israel every day, $9 million of the American taxpayers goes to Israel. So these people know that, and they're using the Nazi symbol.
Those questions,
and I support and love Israel with all my heart, all my strength.
These questions that I'm going to ask today are all high profile. Each and every single question could lead 3 hours or 4 hours and 5 days of discussion.
That's true.
All right.
That's right.
Now,
good point.
I want you guys to avoid the part that you have given me a lecture, or my audience a lecture, just to the answer.
He's spanking you right now.
Right. Okay. Now to the point. The point I was asking the nature of KKK. All right.
Yeah.
To back myself up for the nature of KKK, I pointed out, if KKK was the ones just to protect themselves because they fear the fear, why would there be Nazi signs?
I just
right?
told you.
Okay,
Jack, there's only 5 Nazi signs. We're making a big deal out of nothing.
Can you tell me, in the word yes or no, there were connections between KKK and the Nazis?
Well, that's just related hatred.
Yes, there is connection between KKK thought and Nazi thought.
Okay, very good. That's the answer. Thank you. And do you
very
agree with
irrelevant because there's very few Nazi
he doesn't
flags
agree.
in America.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
Let's move on to next one.
Yes, boss.
Next one is number 6. What were the background stories of Confederation, and what did it have to do with the Civil War? That probably can be.
I think we answered that already.
No. Lots of common ground. No.
No, it was economic.
We need to find out. Now, you cannot. The economy is a big word. Okay, we want to let our audience know from 13 states, right, like 100 years later, we are expanded. We included the South states, and the South state wanted to go out, right? And they did make this the Confederation. And the United Confederation, and that part of the thing, to let them know the idea itself was to divide, to split the United States instead of where to unite.
The South had reasons to want to keep slavery going because, like he said that they need people to pick cotton and people to do things, because it was an agricultural thing.
Right.
And even right now, we've got vegetables that are missing because we've got too high of a minimum wage. So it was that was economic. That was the primary reason. Then there were several states that didn't know if they wanted to go with the North or the South. And there were some states that half went to the North, half went to the South. So it was all, where your allegiance went was a lot of it from economic needs in the South. They couldn't give that up because there wasn't enough people then to do the agricultural work. So
that probably explains him. His statement explains you.
Yes.
From economical reason. They wanted to keep slavery, and yet there comes Abraham Lincoln wants to abolish it, and then there goes a conflict,
And-
that's the war.
Right,
Am I right?
and also we were industrial in the northern part. Okay,
Okay, now, and then till end, like 4 years later, General Lee lost, the war lost to the north, and then that's the end of it. To me, the point I want to make is that it is such a simple thing. Why people make it a big issue now?
you know, I don't
That
know why,
is,
because I don't think
that is where I get bothered.
I don't know. Well, because it's a political tool to try to divide.
America,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what it is.
Because
It's
you
a
see,
political
actually, the
We do get
Confederates
along.
were underarmed, undermanned, and they fought very, very
tool, very
heroically.
valiantly.
Yeah, very
Very
bravely.
valiantly.
Very bravely.
And they were both Americans, and
Yeah.
they were not fighting for slavery.
Brother
They were
against
fighting
brother.
brother against brother, and in the end for the economics, because the North was also looking at cheap labor by getting blacks doing the Industrial Revolution. This is not the first time. May I interject something as an example?
Uh-huh.
In Germany in the 60s, we were so successful and we didn't have enough labor force. We had the Italians came, the Yugoslavs came, the Spanish came, and then we went to Turkey. And we created our own problem because we imported Turkish labor who did a very good job. They were working very hard, but they refused to integrate. This is why we now have a Muslim population which is about 4 million strong, and they don't do any harm, but they didn't integrate. Now, of course, in a society where you are homogeneous, 90% Germans, and then you have that little group of non-Germans who don't integrate and basically want to continue being Turks in another country.
They
that's
have their
a
freedom
problem.
to choose their lifestyle,
Chris,
right?
I
to choose their.
I would have to disagree when you say they don't do any harm. There were 1,000 rapes, which is legal in Sharia law, on New Year's Eve 2 years ago, and there were
No, but
rape
that was- yeah,
gangs
but
that
that
are
was
formed.
not- no,
that
this
was
is-
Muslims.
This is not the Turk, because this is
Okay.
the new arrivals.
Yeah, okay.
I'm talking about the Turks.
Okay.
And by doing so, we created an underclass,
Yeah.
actually, and a
Okay.
total
Yeah,
different
Right.
element.
That's good. Yeah. Thank you. Good.
You know, this had nothing to
If
do
you don't
with it.
assimilate,
now.
you have no nation.
We have moved to question number 7.
Yes, sir.
Which probably is an innovation. When these dead issues, when I say dead issues, confirmed
Historical dead
yeah,
issues,
historical
yes.
dead issues. When these dead issues come alive, do they bring bell to you? If so, what kind of bell do they bring? And if not, why?
Well, you know, they come alive for political purposes now.
Ah.
It's mostly political. It's not like personal bad feelings. The Democrats lost this last election in great shock, okay? Because Hillary, you know, who I think should be in prison, but Hillary, she assumed that she's committed felony after felony.
Okay.
and
We'll talk
Chris would
about her
agree with
another
that.
day, another
Well,
show,
another day.
please, yeah.
Yeah, but and so they're reacting. They're not reacting with great programs to improve the life of the middle class and that. So they're reacting with ways.
Because this is, and the only reason why this is so explosive is that the psychopaths who happen to be a right-wing guy, he could have also been a left-wing guy,
Yeah,
but
all right.
fortunately,
It could have been either. Yeah, right.
fortunately for the puppeteers, it was a right-wing
okay.
guy.
Fortunately for the puppeteers, it was a
Puppeteers,
right-wing guy. Yeah.
yes.
All right,
If it
thank
had
you,
been
the
Black
thank you.
Lives
tragedy
Matter
is-
and
Thank you, friends.
But both
Thank
of
you
those
very
groups
much.
have killed people.
I'll come back.
And then the left doesn't make a big deal out of that. Oh, it's okay.
I'll come
Just
back.
killed the
I'll come back. I'll
Yeah.
come back. Give you my take back. Okay. So
Yes,
stay
sir.
with us. My dear audience, today we're doing a debate, a little discussion, matter of fact, on a little larger scale, with questions that I need to answer from right and left hand side. My dear audience, with my friend Ken Hamming, my life gets better every single day. Argument is unnecessary, unavoidable. Every day, every single time we see each other, we fight. We are brothers.
We are brothers.
Friends, trustworthy. And the same thing happens with my friend Chris Nibby. Even though I argue with him quite less, but I love him quite less. So we're even.
Come on, right.
I am. All right, good. I'm kidding. I love him even more. You're right. All right, let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll continue, please. Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audience, my fellow Americans. Welcome back to the debate. It's a debate between Mr. Chris Nimi and the Hollywood director slash producer slash writer slash actor himself with a huge monumental credit for 18 wonderful films, some which are multi-award winners. And to my right-hand side, Mr. Ken Hemming, and CPA for life, and he makes in 1 week more money than I make in a month.
Really?
That's what he is. Well, even
and
now.
I spend it.
I mean, even now. All right. Okay. Let you enjoy the life. Right.
Enjoy life.
He is a wonderful philosopher, and today we're doing a little test. We put two brains together, see what will happen, right? Okay, right. Now, over the issue of Charlottesville and its aftermath, we're doing some thinking, some kind of like a brain war to see what had happened, what are happening, and is there a way to stop it? And is there a better way to do? Is there a better thing to do? I like the word during the break when they did the discussion among themselves. This sounds like orchestra. So the whole thing is orchestrated. So who did it and
With
who,
a purpose.
For what purpose, that is. Exactly
right.
back to my promise. I said when I come back, I will tell you why I would not take back.
Sure.
And I want to expand it a bit. I was exactly asking you when those dead issues popping up now, like, why would it pop up now? And in your answer, you're saying that because lots of people go against Trump, attacking Trump. So if you take the attacks to Trump as the excuse for white supremacies to pop up, you are definitely wrongly position yourself.
Well, we
Am
don't
I
take
right?
that position.
Yeah.
He has nothing to do with white supremacy.
Yeah, all right.
Zero.
And then,
So don't
and
ever
then,
think that.
And then it had nothing to do with the fact that lots of people, quote unquote, attacked Trump. It has nothing to do. Attack is attack. Under the beautiful flag of democracy, you want to attack him.
If President
Well,
Trump
the law-
says, I love my mother, they will attack him for not mentioning his father. They will attack him for anything. They have such hate that they can't
that is what
think.
we call supremacist.
I don't know
Right?
what you're saying, Jack. That's not true at
and
all.
when they can't even find a word, I love my mother, find problem in the
Trump
expression, as short as I love my mother.
No, I
That's
think
what-
we have to think back.
Yeah.
Why did, after all, he was elected? Whatever fault he has,
And
he
we're
was
happy.
elected.
Right.
So who elected him?
Yeah, all right.
It is
Good
those.
point.
It is those who were American workers who ended up impoverished under decades of greedy corporate America. They lost the lower part of the American middle class. You see, the middle class is the stability of a country, and the lower middle class has been eroded.
Right, but just one addition to that is that our government, the liberal part of our government, wants to push people into poverty because that's how they can keep their vote. The expansion of the welfare society has ruined our middle class. Stop paying as much welfare, people will work and they will take care of themselves. We all are survivors. We want to survive. And we have too big a ridiculous welfare country.
I let gentlemen.
I don't agree with you on this because I
okay.
think the money which is spent on the military-industrial complex is the real issue here. Because if they would cut the insane military budgets, the welfare issue would not be you could finance the welfare issue.
Okay,
any
okay,
which way.
Well, this is a great deal that we
Sure,
disagree
sure.
on, because
Okay,
otherwise
we can-
North Korea will be bombing us, and
North
we
Korea
need.
will
All right.
never bomb you, and you will never bomb North Korea, because at that time you will also
Let's
destroy
focus.
South Korea at the same time.
Gentlemen,
It
let's
won't destroy
focus.
South Korea.
Gentlemen,
It'll kill
oh,
about
gen-
80,000
gentlemen,
people in Seoul. It
gentlemen.
won't destroy it.
Hello, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Let's focus on the question, please, right? There's another day, another show. We talk about North Korea. We can
We
talk
did that
about 3
last
days
week.
in a row, right? Okay. And also, by the way, I would allow you yourself to use your own word to describe yourself as a man, as
do.
a kind of man, whatever. I don't argue with you. I don't say, hey, your description is not correct. So go ahead, feel free to describe yourself. Let your own words do the job. All right, good. Now,
I'm a man.
number 8, question number 8. Good, very good. At the time when General Robert Lee surrendered, did the concept of white supremacy actually go away?
No, it didn't.
Not at all.
No.
Yeah.
We both agree on
But the
that.
one thing I will say, I want to give Grant and Lee really
Where-
great credit for
yeah,
a
when
dignified surrender.
when it didn't go away, where did it go?
It
Just festered.
under hidden. It started to go into hiding
Hidden.
because it wasn't appropriate to mention it. You see, as maybe 50 years ago, if somebody would have said tear down the statue of Robert Lee, every American would have said what? Now, oh yeah, tear down everything, tear down everything. You know, this is
That's what ISIS does. They blow up all the things that run.
Yeah.
When they take over places, they blow up the mosque from whatever. They do everything to destroy the past.
this is moral bankruptcy.
It is. You're right.
Moral bankruptcy.
That's what it
Good,
is.
very good, very good. And what?
right.
Do you agree with his term of moral bankruptcy?
Totally.
Totally.
Morality is, well, number one, we've had a great decline in Christianity. And when you don't have some sort of belief system, whatever it is, besides just like, well, I'm just doing life.
But Ku Klux Klan go against Christian.
Well, so does President Obama. I mean, he was anti-Christian his whole 8 years in there, and
No,
he canceled the prayer breakfast and all that sort of things.
He didn't say
But-
he was.
Oh, he was. His minister says, "Goddamn America." Okay, so that was not exactly very pro-American. But anyway, we've lost our value. My book is all on a value system, and if anybody lived by every syllable in my book like I do, life is perfect and harmony is eternal. It is that simple. And so we've lost our moral values in America.
When you say that the white supremacy never gone away, why do you say it, please?
You see, it's a natural element in humans. Remember, first there were the British, then came then came the Germans, then came the Scandinavians. Each group was deemed with, they're coming to take something away. Then came the Italians, then came this, then came that. It's normal that the newcomers are being viewed with suspicion because they may take away what I have achieved. It's normal nature. It's human nature.
Jack,
All right.
we are wasting time when we keep talking about white supremacists when there's 0.3% that have that feeling in America. 100,000 out of 330 million people think like a white supremacist. It is a nothing. Now the other deal, Antifa and Black Lives Matter, is millions.
But it is them that kill people under daylight.
That is absolutely
right?
untrue.
Am I
okay,
right?
that
No.
is
Am I
absolutely
right?
untrue.
That was a
The
psychopath.
Black Lives Matter killing.
right.
What about the 5 cops in Dallas got killed by Black Lives Matter people? What about the Antifas that have killed people? Don't say that. Don't lay death on white nationalists. Mostly they fight each other, and they're losers.
Do you think what we're
You're giving them too much attention.
Do you think we're giving a general comment to whole United States, or do you think we're talking about Charlottesville?
When we talk, well, we're talking about Charlottesville right now.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is,
Can we focus? Can we focus on Charlottesville?
Sure, that's fine, but it is how many white supremacists were there? 50, 60? Okay, big deal. Of course, it's horrible and they're evil.
Let me switch my question. Okay, at the time when Americans voted to have a black president, were they ready?
Ooh, I love this one.
For me, as a not being an American, and for Europeans, that's why they awarded him a little too early the Nobel Prize, etc., etc. That was, of course, in that realm of former slave owners, was of course something very unusual, and it shows you again the how malleable America is, because I mean nobody expected ever that they would have an American president who is black, because 60 years ago the black couldn't even vote.
They couldn't even get on the bus.
But
right?
Jack,
wasn't it 60?
Jack,
Yeah.
let me say this, okay? The American population were a lot more prepared for a black president than Obama was prepared to be president. He had accomplished nothing before that, and he accomplished nothing since
Just
then.
answer me
I did answer.
strictly.
The people were in fact the people were prepared. They were prepared. The answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, boss.
Americans were ready to accept a white president.
What they failed to do is vet the qualifications of the person. There's a lot of black great guys and great women that I love and worship totally, and that would be prepared to do a wonderful job. He was not one of them.
Okay. So you're saying that Americans were more ready to accept a black president
That he was
than
prepared.
the black president himself were ready for the presidency.
That is my believing.
Do you agree with that?
I really don't know, but but something rings true. It sounds true, but I have not given this enough
See the
thought.
German style?
Hey,
When he can't answer it, he
I'm
say
I'm 1/16
straightforward, say I don't know.
I'm 1/16 German.
Yeah, good. Oh, you're 1/16 German.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm
That's why I look good.
Yeah, 144.
From a distance.
Okay, anyway. Okay. So my lovely audience, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Americans, we're today doing a little debate. It's not exactly a debate. We're not heated. It's not a heated even discussion. With me, my good friend Ken Hamming, with me, my good friend Chris Nebe. They both are wonderful individuals. They both are my lifetime trusted friend, who we argue all the time, but the more we argue, the smarter we get, right? The stronger
That's
we
true.
get.
That's
And
true.
we'll take a very short moment out. When I come back, I'm trying to run to make sure I finish all these questions. Otherwise,
You're doing
otherwise you
good.
guys just wasted my homework.
You're doing good.
Which was whole night and this morning, right? Okay, now, okay, we'll be right back. Hello, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, my wonderful audiences. I love you so much. Me and my crew working so hard to make sure that you hear something. You hear, whatever you hear is right, I believe. We are not playing games. We're not playing those extreme media games to do whatever that catches your eye for their gains, right? Okay, we don't do that. We stand very close to you to make sure you are informed. To do that, we have two wonderful friends joining me today. Mr. Chris Nebe, a wonderful producer, director, screenwriter. Oh, by the way, I love the latest one, the Village Doctor. The Village Doctor, I like that.
Yeah.
The story is very, very enticing, and I can't lay it down.
I didn't write that.
Yeah, I could.
I just optioned it, and
You
I
optioned
would
it.
like to make
Oh.
the movie in
Okay,
China.
very good.
Yeah, I didn't write that.
Very good
no.
choice. I thought you wrote it.
But this
Anyway.
is written by a very qualified writer who is
Okay, very good.
president of Walt
And
Disney.
to the question number 10. People have been criticizing the extreme left for their political right issue. Do you think what we are seeing now is a rebound or backflash?
Well,
Uh,
I criticize the extreme left for their hatred, dishonesty, endorsement of violence, and desire to divide America into hateful groups. So other than that, a normal Democrat and a normal Republican, they're my friends. Okay, so it's only the extremists that I find.
Who endorse the crimes?
The,
Can you give me an example?
Yes.
In which case, a registered Democrat with a true name endorsed a certain crime.
Okay,
please?
there's a lady senator in Missouri, Jack, my dear friend.
What's
that,
her name?
2 days ago, I forget her name. It's got 3 names in it. Okay, it's not one worth remembering. The last name I think is Nadal. Okay,
Nadal.
That she went on ranting on Twitter for someone to please assassinate President Trump. That is that's not endorsing crime. That's endorsing death. And I believe that's a crime. I hope she gets arrested. And that was one of the most despicable human tweets ever conceived of by mankind. And she's begging someone to kill our president. I hope she fries in hell.
Well, that needs to be found out to be true. We have
true.
to find out there.
It's all over the news.
Do you agree with his concept, or you have your own about this being a setback, this being a backlash, this being a rebound, please?
As a European, of course, it always amazes me what is called left here, because we are all socialists, and here this is the left here has nothing to do with us, our left, our socialist.
That's the American kind
Bernie
of left.
Sanders
The American kind of left is also again born that a lot of that a certain segment of the American middle class is now doesn't have what they expected to get.
Hope.
Hope.
don't
Their
have
children, they have no hope. Their children cannot afford college. The whole system, while you can get an excellent education in America when you pay for it, the public education in most cases, especially in inner cities and so on, is not up to snuff. So you're creating, there is a hopelessness, and that's what it is. It's economy. If the economy would be ticking along nicely,
Absolutely.
everybody would be happy.
Yeah.
I remind you, Hitler came to power because of severe economic problems.
Absolutely.
And he said, and he managed to change it in 4 years, and that is actually the miracle, and that is actually when you will, the positive side of Nazi, because
Very
there is
good.
also a positive
And
side.
my,
But then it drifted
There is a
into
negative side.
complete, into the, and the negative side, which was totally destructive.
All right. Okay. Next question, gentlemen.
Yes,
okay.
boss.
Americans believe the pendulum effect. Do you think what we are seeing now is swinging too much?
Well, I don't know what way you think it's swinging. I will say that the people of America, the middle class, in all but probably 4 or 5 states, brought Donald Trump to our presidency because they were people that were looking for hope, looking for a better economy, looking to control immigration. I am not for open borders, okay? It just destroys us and everybody. Look at Europe.
Do you agree with the pendulum effect analysis, and do you think that we are swinging to the left too much or right too much?
Yes, because this is an open
agrees.
society, and an open society allows this wild swings, which then, when the bell starts to tone down, it comes back to the middle.
All right.
And again, I say, if there would not have been the psychopath
On that day, yeah.
on that day who did what he did, this whole situation in Charlottesville would have never become what it is.
Right. It's blown out of proportion.
It's blown out of proportion,
All right.
and everybody uses it for its own benefit, and tries to manipulate. I'm telling you, the normal American is just wants to have
So you
the life.
you do agree that the pendulum effect is functioning,
Yes.
and you do agree that we swing, but we swing too much.
Yes.
There should be limits to the pendulum.
All right, good. Good.
Distance.
Limit is,
There
but you
should be
see,
limit.
this is part. You see, but this is part of
Like what? Like you do
Yeah.
any of
Well,
this.
there's tolerance. There's tolerant for certain pendulum
Exactly,
effect. Then
exactly,
it becomes intolerant
exactly.
if it goes beyond
when you
those
drive,
boundaries.
you want to do left to right, left to right, left to right.
Yeah.
All the way left.
Don't
you will
leave your
never
lane.
drive nowhere. All the way right, you will drive never, nowhere, anywhere, right?
Right, that's true.
Okay, you
In full
have to do
circles.
this way. Never too much,
Right.
especially never suddenly do too much.
Yeah, but this, you see, is part of the American culture, and therefore America is exceptional
part of freedom.
because it does try different ways, but still in this country it has, as long as you have free speech, as long as you can say the things which are being said, that is something which is very rare.
All right.
Because in some countries, cultural, you cannot say something. In other countries, religiously, you cannot say something. And
That's
in
for
other
sure.
countries, politically, you cannot say something.
Right.
Here, you can do what you want.
Yeah, but
Okay,
within the boundaries of not sedition
then
and not
it
encouraging
allows,
a crime.
then
and
it
death.
allows the swing,
That's it.
which
And-
is normal. Okay,
Yeah.
good. We'll feel better now. My next question. Some have been blaming for the right-wing media. Do you think they have something to do with it?
There's so little right-wing media. Who are you referring to?
I don't know.
There
So
The
You're
is
left-wing
right,
media is
there is
95% of the
left
media.
or right? The left or right?
Well, the left-wing media has everything to do with it because they actually do lie about what the news is. They make up stories. I mean, it's proven they make up stories
There is
just
also
to create
no really
hate.
left-wing media because it's all corporate media. It's all a design.
Well, for example, yeah, because for example, President Trump just had like 10 businessmen resign from his council. Well, that identified who the radical left CEOs of the companies were. The radical left CEOs, they left, okay? No problem, they won't be missed. But the employees that they have, will not respect them actually abandoning the process of trying to increase jobs and income.
Let's
Are
put
you
it. let's put
sure
it-
that they were, how do you know that they were left?
Common sense.
Common sense, why?
Common sense, because why would you leave? I believe everything Trump said about Charlottesville, every syllable was the truth and correct. Evil on all sides, and then they're going,
yeah.
So that's that's the I mean, someone that believes that there's evil on
Okay.
all of those
right.
elements
But I
wouldn't
think-
leave.
But I think behind this is again another
Trying
game.
to kiss up to their
Yes.
Yeah, all right, okay.
And I
that's
just
true.
heard now that Steve Bannon is gone.
Right.
Again.
He was fired. He's just now fired.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Again,
he
but
says he
again,
resigned,
this is
but-
all.
He was offered a chance to resign.
Yeah, who knows?
Matter
We
of
don't
fact,
know the
it
truth.
was
He's gone.
firing.
That's all
It's
that counts.
gone anyway.
He's out of the White House.
Are you happy that he's gone?
I think so, because I think like he just gave that interview that I think was really very disloyal to the program of President Trump. And he opened, just like Scaramucci, they open their mouth loosely and foolishly. And if you're loose and a fool, I don't want you in our White House.
Because they have a role model of
What
a
was the
loser and a
contents
bigger
of
mouth.
this interview?
Oh, he said it's impossible to use military sources to deal with North Korea. Well, that's absolutely insane. It's just,
Well, anyway, all
the
right.
whole thing. I mean,
Okay,
he said
gentlemen,
if you read his interview,
let me
it was disgusting,
ask
just like Scaramucci.
Let me ask my last question for today. We are criticizing left-wing media, the right-wing media being extreme. What in your eye should the media do?
Journalism has died. My brother's a graduate of the University of Missouri in journalism. It's the greatest journalism school in America. Right now, the journalists don't use the independent thinking and reporting of the facts. They use their journalistic exposure to humanity in America to push their own personal agenda politically. And they have abandoned, there's no journalism left in America.
Your take, please?
I would agree with you. They are creating for personal benefit because the more attention you get more money and you're more
Yeah,
popular
right.
and you get another job at a competing
All right.
corporate media organization.
Right.
Yeah.
At EDI, the G&E TV, we do not play games. We just call a spade, a diamond a diamond.
You do.
We let our audience know the exact truth. We're not adding up. Sometimes when we are mystified, we ask for professional help, such as today.
True.
We have a man on right hand side, we have man on left hand side, and we discuss about it. We'll bring our audiences for their own judgment. right? Okay. Now today, in the discussion about Charlottesville and its aftermath, the discussion concludes now with my friend Ken Hamming, with my friend Chris Nebe. They're both wonderful individuals. They're both a very close friend to EDI, to G&E TV, and I wish them good luck, and I wish them never get lost in a situation like this. And so is the wish going to you, my dear audiences. We love you so much. Good luck to you. And thank you for watching. And to my friend Ken Hamming, to my friend Chris Nebe, thank you very much.
谢谢你老朋友，非
Thank you
常
very much.
感谢。
Good.
And